Going live. We are live. It says we're live. It says we're live right now. Oh my goodness. Jeepers. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, my people. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the studio, the year of the studio. We're creating a space for productivity and creativity. And boy, look, we got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot to talk about today. So we're gonna get right into it. Studio updates. Basically, nothing has changed. We've been gone for 2 weeks. Hey, I'm glad you're here. We've been gone for 2 weeks now, so basically nothing in the studio has changed. Other than that, like I guess a bunch of stuff has gotten cleared, and I cleaned up the mess from last time. Life updates. That's where the biggest updates are this week. But we're going to save life updates for the story time, which will be the activity today. We're not going to be shaving anything. We're going to be talking. Erica's coming. Let's see here. Yeah. House, Patreon. Community news. We had a week off from the live stream during our honeymoon. So that's what we just did, in case you were curious. Thank you so much. Carolee's here. Glad you're here. There were a lot of people actually that got to see the live stream of the actual reception. And my mom even filmed, or not filmed, but had my other parents on the line, on the phone, for a visual phone call during the ceremony itself, up on top of the mountain, up on top of Windy Knob. And so hopefully, and we also have footage from that recorded that will be public soon, hopefully. It might already be public on Facebook, I don't know. But man, so much has happened. And in Patreon, we do have two patrons. So that's good. Our next goal is 5. So we need to more than double that eventually. But honestly, none of that is important. What's important is that y'all's are here and that y'all's got to be with us for the reception and for all that. I heard that you guys had a cake and that you had a little miniature party. I hope to hear more about that. I'll probably give you guys a call at some point to ask about it, and see what that was like. But yeah, right now we're kind of just sinking back into life. Been trying to catch up on phone calls and calling people and talking to people that see how everything went for everybody else, because things went great for us. And the activity today, drum roll please. Luna hasn't had a walk yet today, and Luna is a very needs a walk kind of dog. And Luna has heard me say that word the past 2 times, and she's now never gonna be. No. Luna, yeah, are you gonna stay in here?
If she doesn't, she'll be at the door whining.
I know, she'll make a bunch of noise. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna. Here's my plan. We'll probably break from the plan. They said hi Erica and hi Luna.
Hello.
We're probably gonna break from the plan, but the goal is we're gonna tell the story in the chronological timeline of how the wedding went and everything that happened. 9 days before the wedding day, and 9 days after the wedding. Did she get you? Did she lick you?
Yeah.
It happens. It happens a lot, actually.
Oh my gosh. That's disgusting.
Yeah. You gonna go sit down? Oh, no, okay.
No.
If she steps out, I'm gonna close the door behind her, and we'll see what happens. But if not,
just want her to think that it was her decision.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. The illusion of freedom. So, yeah. 9 days before the wedding. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
You can start.
I can start the story. So 9 days before the wedding was Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. And nothing super exciting happened that day, I guess. Some of the like leading up to the wedding, there was a lot of just work. So that was going on. So I worked, you worked, and I called ahead to the rental company and in Boise, Idaho, to ask them a bunch of clarification questions to figure out questions other people told me I should ask to make sure that we could pay for everything the way we wanted to pay for things. And that will be important to the story later. Because at this point, when I talked to the lovely lady, I don't remember her name, but she told me, yes, you can do all these, you can pay basically any way you want, is what they told me. And I was talking to what was supposedly the Boise car rental service at the airport there. And so I made a reservation with them. And so that was all squared away that day, which was nice. And and you were working, doing pastor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you were in meetings that day. Is that right?
Yeah, there was a lot of meetings.
You had a lot
every day
basically.
before the wedding.
Yeah. All awesome. That's the best part of being a pastor, right?
Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best. My favorite.
That's funny. Okay, well, what happened the next day, Thursday?
Thursday, I was
You don't have to
still
look at the
working.
cheat sheet if you just remember Thursday.
It was a while ago.
I don't want you to feel like you have to try and read my handwriting, which is terrible.
I was still working. I think you were still working.
I think I didn't. I don't think I had Thursday.
Oh,
I think I only had
Thursday.
2 days of work that week, so I was with your mom a lot. Oh yeah, her mom was here.
Yes.
Well, our mom was here.
Like the Friday before. So she was here for a week before, and getting all sorts of figuring out packing, where everything's gonna go, because we had a lot of stuff that we had to take up. Like a lot of the wedding supplies, we had to take in our luggage. So half of our luggage was dedicated to this is supplies we need for the wedding.
Well, more than half of my luggage, because the big suitcase that's all it was. It didn't have any of my stuff in it. But yeah. So there was a lot of logistical stuff that your mom helped us with. It was just so many little details. It would have been a lot more work for us to try and do it while also doing. Yeah.
We each had a small suitcase, and then we shared a big suitcase. And then we had a big suitcase full of wedding supplies, a big tub full of wedding supplies. It's just, if you close it, it's just gonna line. If you leave it open, she might not come back. Shut up. So yeah, Thursday was packing.
Yeah, packing and getting ready. Yep. Because we were getting ready for all that stuff. You had to, because of the stuff you sent with me plus my stuff. So we were doing a bunch of packing, and then Friday was crazy because we had to wake up early. How early did we wake up?
I think it was like 3 a.m. and I had board meeting the night before, so yeah. I had a meeting until like 8:30 or 9 that night, and then we got up at 3, so I could take them to the airport.
Our flight was at 6. We got there early. We got there like 4:45 or 4:30 probably, and so we had like an hour, more than an hour and a half before we needed to be on the plane, and so we thought that was going to be plenty. But there had been just like a little flurrying of snow that morning, and so there were a lot of employees of the Dallas airport that didn't come in to work because of the snow, and so security was understaffed, and so very quickly the line backed up because there was only one like whatever you call it at the security.
I didn't know that's why it was so long.
Yeah, that's why it took so long. Is because
Texas can't handle any sort of snow.
Yeah,
it was
that's
not
what they said in the
bad
announcement. Yeah. So that was the reason they gave me the announcement, and that's why they only had one security booth open, and so it was super slow. We were the last ones to get through in time, because like basically it was only going through like basically only the express people, like the people that got in pre-checks were getting to go through, and all the rest of us were just standing there waiting, and the line was like moving but extremely slowly. And at that point we were looking at our watch, or at the time being like, if they don't open up a second line or a third line, there's no way we're gonna get through this line before our plane takes off. And then the guy comes out, makes the announcement explaining what's going on about the weather, and then he says, and then he opens up the second line, and the second line, they didn't have enough staff for it, so they only had the second line open for like, I don't know, it could have only been like 10 minutes probably, but it was just long enough for us to get through, and like we were one of only like half of, I don't know how you measure that. I would guess like 20 people got through during the time when the two lines were open, and we were the last people in that 20 people. So we barely got in, and we got through, and at that point, I think we only had like 5 minutes. No, our boarding had already started, but we still had like maybe 10 minutes, something like that, before the plane was supposed to leave. And so, but luckily, our gate was like right next to us. Like we walked into the airport from security, and we're like, oh, that's our gate. We could see it. So that was fortunate. And so we did make it just fine. But like, it was a bit nerve-wracking while we were in the line, for sure. Anyway, that was a long explanation. Yeah, I took my time on that one.
I didn't even get there.
I didn't. Oh, so then on our next flight, we ended up, our next flight late? I don't remember how many flights we had, geez. But one of our flights was late, and so we ended up with only 25 minutes between when we landed and when our plane left. And we had to get all the way across whatever airport that was. I don't remember. And so me and Mom at Cosgrove ran all the way across that stinking airport. We were huffing and puffing, but we made it. We did, and our luggage did too. We had luggage tracking, and we checked and made sure it was making. But yeah, so we had a nice run. That was good. Good morning, John. And then we get into Boise, and we go downstairs, and she goes to go get the luggage while I get the rental car. And Mama Cosgrove and I were not going to be staying in the same place, so it was just for convenience. She was going to get the luggage while I got my rental car. She was planning on staying with Aunt Lana and Uncle Todd. Mm-hmm. So, but then it turns out what they had told me on the phone was not true, and they wouldn't take any of the different payment options that we had planned on. So then we went from there. Uncle Todd gave us a ride to, what's that town right next to Boise?
Meridian.
To the Meridian Enterprise car rentals, where they actually hooked us up and were willing to help us out. And the price was half of what it would have been from the airport. So the price of the rental literally got cut in half. And that was a huge win, even though it was a total nightmare at the time. And kind of embarrassing, not gonna lie. And I'm not super easily embarrassed, but I was embarrassed. But anytime I can't pay for something, I guess I feel embarrassed. But anyway, so that's how that went. And then I drove straight to the Garrett's ranch that day. whereas you guys stayed, or whereas she stayed there to do other stuff, but stuff that could be done more easily there. So, wow, Friday, big travel day, lot going on.
I was just here.
Oh, what did you do here?
I don't know. Work.
Yeah. Preparation for church on Saturday.
I think I came back and went to sleep for a little bit, and then
Yeah. And then Saturday, you spent the whole day?
I spent the whole day at church. I didn't leave church till like 9 p.m. that day.
Just doing things with the kids. And then I went to church with the Garretts in Grangeville, which is like a nearby town. It's about an hour away from the Garrett Ranch, which is the venue for the wedding, and spent the whole day just relaxing, like, because it's Sabbath and I wasn't going to work on stuff for the wedding on that day. But yeah. Then Sunday, what'd you do Sunday?
Sunday, I was still working. Life of a youth pastor. We had some Pathfinder events. We were getting ready for Camporee. It's coming up in April, and they have like all these sorts of events they do during the Camporee, and they had practice for them. So we did that, and then
what's Pathfinders?
Pathfinders is the Adventist version of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts combined. It's like the best way to explain it.
Yeah, co-ed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that was done, I went and got my ring all cleaned and polished and shiny, so that it was ready for pictures on the wedding. Because, we've gotten dirty over 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did your ring cleaning, and then I was doing rafter cleaning. So they have the big lofty rafters. I don't know if you got to see them or not. You'll see them in pictures, I'm sure. But their house has a really high vaulted ceiling, and they have these full tree rafters. And so we were cleaning them. And by we, I mostly mean Andrew. Andrew was the one doing all the stunts up in the rafters. He was walking around on the rafters, and we had, what's it called? Scaffolding. But I was just cleaning the trees down at the area, down where the normal people have to live and see the rafters from. But so but it's a lot of cleaning. Their house is a very big house, and the joys of having a very big house are that you have a very big house. The not joys are that you then have to clean a lot of that house, and there's a lot of it to clean. So, and their house, they still had all their furniture in it and everything. So we were cleaning a lot of stuff. And then what else do I have on here? Oh, and I also went for the hike up to where the actual wedding was going to take place to see how long it would take, so we can make predictions about when people should try to leave and stuff like that, and what types of vehicles it would be accessible by, which it turned out was just 4-wheelers. And I even measured, and people made fun of me for this. I didn't realize how funny this would seem to people, but I also measured out how long I thought it would take for an elderly person to walk up there. So
we'll have to ask them if it was correct.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Speaking of which, well, we were really thankful that your grandparents were able to make it.
Yeah, so that was actually
Tell us
another
that
thing that
story.
happened on like Thursday or Friday before.
Yeah.
We have some really good friends who we grew up with who they're in process of moving to Panama, and so they were going to be in Panama during our wedding.
Which is why they weren't planning to come.
And so they weren't planning to come, and my grandparents couldn't make it because they have a guy named Steve in their house that they take care of. And it ended up that our friends suddenly were not going to be in Panama because some things with the organization that they're working with to look at land and look at homes and stuff decided, hey, we're not going to do it this time. So they were like, hey, we're going to be in the States. How about we take care of Steve and your grandparents can go to the wedding? So like last minute, we're scrambling, getting flights and stuff for my grandparents so that they were actually able to be there. So
So that was a
thanks.
huge
Yeah.
answer to prayer and a huge blessing for sure
Yeah.
that they were willing to step that up. So that was a huge blessing, and we're super grateful for that and thankful for that, which we'll come back to later. That'll become important again. It's not the last time you'll hear about that part of the story. So, gee, I'm so bad at foreshadow. I might be the worst foreshadower ever because I'm like, don't you forget it, because I know how I am. I always forget it when something like that happens in a story. So, all right, then Monday. Oh man, the wedding is on Friday, and we're already to Monday. So Monday, we were cleaning windows, and they have really big windows, so there's a lot of that. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's all you did, isn't it?
It is. They're like 9-foot windows. So
Yeah.
they're gigantic, and they're all the way around that whole room. Plus all of the bedrooms, which were a bunch of bedrooms, which is good that they have a whole bunch of bedrooms. But yeah, so it was a lot.
I was finishing up packing and again more meetings and stuff, making sure things were set for while I was away. So.
Yeah, very cool. Turning the page
Tuesday.
now. Welcome to a brand
I
new
was
month,
also
everybody.
working.
What'd you say?
Shocker.
Shocker.
I said Tuesday. I was also working. Yeah, Tuesday was a busy day. We had the so where I work, the church I work at, we have a university right on, like, we're on the campus of the university. And the university got a new president this year, and so Tuesday we had the inauguration of the president, and so it was like this whole thing.
They had a
whole
parade
event.
through 4 different cities.
No, not quite. But yeah, so like I was busy doing things with that all day, and then in the evening at 5, I left here to go to the airport. I dropped Luna off at our next door neighbor. I live in a duplex. We live in a duplex.
Yeah, we do now.
So literally right next door. Luna stays over there when I leave. Wonderful couple. They love having her. She loves having them because Eddie stays home.
He's tired.
He's tired, so she gets to have someone around all day long, someone who takes her on walks multiple times a day. So like she's in heaven, I think, when I leave. And sometimes I'm like, she's at some point she's just gonna want to stay over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so dropped off Luna, and then my friend took me to the airport. And I flew and got to Boise at like 10 o'clock that night. And went to Uncle Todd and Aunt Lana's with my mom and my brother and his girlfriend. They also flew in that night. So
Yeah, so that day was more wedding preparation on their property, moving furniture, we cleared a couple rooms that were full of stuff that were for storage, and we moved a lot of stuff, and then what was I gonna say? Oh, and that night, what?
So it doesn't matter. Keep going.
Well,
I want to hurry. Hear the.
Well, that night we went and got the tables and chairs from the church. So the church that I went to on Sabbath, we went back to and took all of their tables and chairs so that they couldn't sit or eat. So, and then Wednesday's when the speed starts to pick up.
Yeah. And things start to get interesting.
Yeah, this is where things go crazy.
So Wednesday, I drove up. Well, I didn't drive at all. My mom drove, and Jesse drove, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my mom, my brother
awesome.
Jesse, and his fiance, Nicole, we drove up to Lucille and drove to the ranch and met up with Nick and the Garretts.
What did they think of the road up?
They were terrified. Well, I should say my mom was terrified. I think Jesse was fine with it, and my mom was glad that Jesse was driving at that point because their driveway is very steep, like drop off on one side, and it's in the season where it's very, very slick. Mm-hmm. So my mom was not happy.
Yeah.
She was like, how few times can I go up and down this?
Yeah, because you're going up onto the mountain, and there's a cliff all the way down on the one side, and a cliff up above you on the. So it's a pretty precarious road. And so I forgot to tell this part. When I got there, so on Friday, when I got there, the it had been snowing. I got there, everything is covered in snow, super snowy, and at the bottom of their driveway, sort of, where the road is where I meet Rodney and Andrew, who are down there, and they're getting ready to go up, and they it takes Andrew. No, Andrew gets Mama, Rodney's mom. She tries to drive up, can't do it in the snow in her vehicle, so she pulls back down, and then they're like, "Well, Nick, you go ahead," because I had gotten an all-wheel drive vehicle, a little Nissan Patrol. Was it Patrol? Nissan
No idea.
Rogue. Nissan Rogue, and
It's a car.
it's a car. It was a Nissan Rogue, and I tried to drive up, and I think I tried 3 times and failed all 3 times, and each time having to come back down in the snow, and then Andrew tried and got it first time with Mama, so he takes Mama up and they disappear. Well, then a few minutes later, Andrew comes back down, and because there's no service, so it's not like anyone can call anybody else to be like, hey, come help me out. So, but we weren't right behind him, so he came back down, and Rodney tried it and couldn't do it in the vehicle he had. So at this point, we're 3 vehicles in that haven't been able to make it, and we have 1 vehicle that we have figured out definitely will make it. They're all-wheel drive, all these vehicles. The one Mama was driving is a little bit heavier, so that might be a contributing factor as to why I wasn't able to do it. And then, but Andrew's car is the one that had the best winter tires, and he just got them sniped, he said. So anyway, we all load up into Andrew's car and drive up, which is a little tiny Subaru that has the back busted off of it. But anyway, we mob up the hill in his vehicle, and we made it. So yeah, but that's what it was like. It was 6 to 12 inches when I got there of snow, but
unfortunately, by the time I got there, or fortunately for people driving, it was no longer snowy. It was just muddy. So our vehicle was able to make it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had snow the first 2 days I was there. So that day was Friday. Sabbath we had snow. Sunday we had rain. Or was it Sunday? No. Sunday was a clear day. We did a bunch of different stuff. But Monday and Tuesday were both rainy days. Was there rain on Wednesday? I don't remember if there was or not. I don't think so. So, but Monday and Tuesday, we had 2 days of rain that washed a lot of that snow out and helped it evacuate. But yeah, by the time Wednesday came around, basically no snow on the ground. There was still snow on the mountains, right?
Yeah, behind us.
Yeah, so you could see it on the hillsides and stuff.
And then, so we get up there, and then we head to town to
get the license,
to get our marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, got that no problems.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna call. I needed to figure out our Airbnb. I'd booked an Airbnb for me and all my girls and all of their husbands and significant others, and my mom and dad and my brother. It's 15 people. And I had messaged them earlier in the day and hadn't heard anything, and I was gonna call them, and then I was like, no, let's just get the marriage license first, and then I'll call them, because it would be on our way back towards the ranch. And so got the marriage license, and we stayed in that town because we had cell signal there. I was like, don't drive, because I need to figure this out before we lose cell signal. And we end up staying in that town for hours because I cannot get a hold of my Airbnb host. And so then I call like Airbnb themselves, and they're trying to figure it out, trying to contact them. Nothing. And so like we're hours into this, and now like one of my bridesmaids and her fiance had gotten there and met up with us, and we met up with my aunt and uncle, or two of my aunts and another one of my bridesmaids and her husband, and just trying to figure it out. And then finally, like Airbnb was like, "Well, we can refund you. Sorry, like we don't know what's happening." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I guess like give me the refund. We'll figure something out." And so like some people were looking at hotels and everything, and we ended up just deciding we're like,
well, the way we decided, I thought was priceless. I thought the way we decided was super priceless because so this happened exactly the way I hoped it would. Well, I don't know about hoped it would, but like the way it gets resolved, I found delightful, which is basically after all this, we've been working on this for like hours. There's people like looking in the windows of the Airbnb to check it. There's people talking to the neighbors of the Airbnb to like find out who he is and what he is. And we found out a bunch of sketchy stuff. We finally got a hold of him, and he was like, this is the wrong number.
"Well, no, that wasn't the right person."
Yeah, he was like, this is the wrong number. The person you're trying to call is in jail with the FBI or something.
Which also wasn't true.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Didn't add up. Yeah. And but anyway, like, so there's just this whole long, like, complicated story of like trying to solve the story. And then finally, I don't know, maybe we should have done it sooner. Erica calls her mom, and her mom is like, "Just bring everybody here. We'll figure it out from here because we'll all be together." And I was like, "You're the hero of my universe, Shelby." I was like, that was an ideal moment for me. I was like, yes. We are all going to
like
Garrett's.
everyone's hungry because it's like we should have had dinner by this point.
Oh yeah, we're like way past dinner time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So literally everyone, all of those people and some other people that just got disrupted by the chaos of it, we all pile into the Garrett's ranch that night.
We had dinner, and then we just crashed there. All of us found places to sleep. The wonderful thing about the Garrett's Ranch is though they have like so many beds because they have lofts in every room that has a mattress, and like some of the rooms have multiple beds, and so there was like
and they were so hospitable. Like we cannot express to you guys how much we appreciate the way the Garretts treated us for this wedding, and we cannot express to you the Garretts how thankful we are. Because it could have been a drastically different experience, but it was awesome, and it was really cool to have everybody together. I thought, So going into this, the high speed, high stakes game of wedding with everybody.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was me and all the bridesmaids stayed upstairs, and all the groomsmen stayed down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, a lot of people in there.
So then Thursday was a whole nother adventure.
Yeah. What time did my parents get there? Did they get there before breakfast, or was it after that?
It was. Oh, your mom? She got in like the middle of the night.
Oh yeah. Wait, she got to the Garrett's house in the middle of the night, or she got to Boise like middle of the night?
No, the Garrett's house.
Oh yeah, because I had to go get them. I forgot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. We had a lot of trouble getting up because all that rain had made it super muddy. So we went from the difficulties of snow to the difficulties of mud in basically 2 or 3 days. And so in the middle of the night, I don't remember what time it was, but it was pretty late. I would go down to the bottom of the mountain to pick them up. Because that's what you have to do if somebody doesn't have 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive or the gumption to gun it up that mountain, because that's kind of what you have to do for a couple different parts. You have to gun it. And so I went down there to get them in that little Nissan Rogue. And so it was me, Vern, Ma, John Roney, and my brother Josh. we're a big family and we're big people, and we couldn't get up.
And there was a lot of groceries.
And there was a lot of luggage and groceries. I mean, they had their luggage and groceries on their seats, like with them. That's how high it was. Like I couldn't see my mom's face behind me because of. Anyway, so it's a small car as it is, a Nissan Rogue, or at least in terms of like SUVs, it's a very small SUV type thing, and it just did not have the power to do it in the mud, and the mud was and part of it was probably me. Like if I'd been a better driver, I'm sure I could have done it, but yeah, we just kept bogging down, and so oh man, how many times did we try? I think we tried it 3 or 4 times before I had them get out when I was at the furthest point, and they walked the rest of the way up. And by the rest of the way, I don't mean the rest of the way to the house. I mean like the rest of the way up that hard part, which is the first part. And then I backed down, and with just me and Vern in the vehicle, then we did it one more time because he had to go back down. He forgot his phone, and so we went. One more time. We finally made it. We're coming up around the corners and picked them up. Drove all the way to the top. My mom, I don't want to say it was hysterical, but she was. She's a very expressive person, and it's sometimes difficult to concentrate when someone like her or myself, because I have the same expressiveness, is making a bunch of noise, and the whole way up, my mom is like seeing the edge and like this is she was super freaked out. Both of our mothers, as it turned out, did not like the road. My mom at least expressed, I'm sure Shelby said the same sort of things, but my mom expressed a ton of worry about people coming up and like, are people going to get in accidents? Like, what's it going to be like if people get in accidents? How will we even know? Because nobody has service up here. Yeah. So, yep, that was exciting. And that was Wednesday night leading up to Thursday.
Well, probably Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Thursday I get up, we're starting to make breakfast and stuff, and Nick gets a phone call. So our honeymoon was to Hawaii, and if you don't know, Hawaii is super, super like restrictive on things with COVID. Mm-hmm. And so we needed to get a COVID test before we went to Hawaii. And we had like gone through all of this stuff to set one up and like make sure it's the right place, because they only have certain places that they accept them from, and it has to be a certain type of test and like all sorts of things. And so we thought that we were good. Like we'd set one up with one that was on their list and it was the right kind of test. And then we get a phone call Thursday morning, and the test is supposed to be Thursday evening. Hey, Hawaii has not been accepting our COVID test results as like one of their trusted providers. And so suddenly I'm like, what are we supposed to do now? What are we supposed to do now? Because to find COVID tests, like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have, if you've had to travel at all or anything, like you have to make sure you're on it, like getting it booked, because if you just try and get one that day, you're probably not going to get an appointment.
Because they're always busy. Because
they're booked. And so I was like, we're not going to find an appointment. We're not going to get to go to Hawaii. Like, I was so stressed. And so we started trying to figure it out. And then I had to leave and had a nail appointment to go get my nails done. But Nick and Mom, they eventually figured it out. They found a Walgreens. Walgreens is trusted, but this fancy medical center is not. I don't get it. But Walgreens was on their list. And when I called, it was so, when I called, they're like, oh, we've never had those people on our list. I've never known them to be
one of our trusted partners.
And I was like, how did I find them?
Yeah, the only way we found them was by the link that they had on their website. Yeah.
So they found a Walgreens in Lewiston that we could get a test that evening. And it had to be at a certain time too, because like you have to have, when you go to the airport, your like final leg before you land in Hawaii. But at the time that flight leaves, you have 72 hours before that as your time frame for a COVID test. Like you can't be outside of 72 hours. And so like we were cutting it close. because I'm pretty sure it was like 60 some hours before.
Yeah.
But we got it booked, and I got back from getting my nails done. And at this point, like basically all of our wedding party is there except for I think one of my bridesmaids. But
No,
everyone
two.
else-
Because was it? There was someone who didn't. One of the guys didn't arrive until like an hour before the thing. Rawson
Yeah,
was the last one.
Right when I got back, basically.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. So everyone but one of my bridesmaids was there, and we ate lunch, and then we went up and did a rehearsal on top of the mountain.
Yep.
And it was oddly not windy on Windy Knob.
Yeah. Which how many times have you been to Windy Knob before that point?
I know.
Once, twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I've been up there a bunch of times. Who knows how many times. And I have never seen Windy Knob not extremely windy. It's always windy up there. So.
And when he was sending me like snaps from up there earlier in the week, like I can't even hear what he's saying because it's so windy. All you hear is like.
Sure. Yeah, and it's always like that. It'll be like a light, gentle breeze by their house, but 200 feet higher in elevation and half a mile over, it's just like hurricane force winds all the time.
But yeah, it was
that's a slight exaggeration.
Very calm.
Yeah.
And
odd,
we did
like bizarrely calm.
Did the rehearsal and then booked it back down the hill because we needed to drive to Lewiston.
How far was it to Lewiston?
It's like is it 2 hours?
I think it's 2 hours there.
Yeah.
2 hours there and 2 hours back. So we had 4 hours at that point.
Yeah.
But it got extended.
Yeah. Yeah. So nothing is planned, clearly.
Yeah.
So we get there, thankfully, got the test just fine. And then we started driving back, and as we start to gain elevation as we're driving back into the mountains.
Because we have a couple passes we have to go over. I think it's 2.
Yeah. It starts snowing really hard. And now we're driving just through a bunch of snow.
Yeah.
Which I was like super excited because I was like, oh, like this
hopefully
means that we're gonna get snow.
Yeah, hoping for snow at the ranch.
Which it was not true. We got to Grangeville, which is like an hour away. And once we got over the pass at Grangeville, it stopped snowing.
Yeah, totally. Big bye.
We got back and had another very late dinner because it took us longer to get back.
Yeah. And
we had rehearsal dinner, and everyone is there at this point, and yeah, just having fun, talking to people, catching up.
Yeah. So that gets us to Thursday night, and I was up pretty late Thursday night, still getting things done. So I ended up getting like a total of maybe 3 hours of sleep that night. Or of laying down time. No, I slept for that time. What?
I said I got more than that.
Yeah, well, good for you. I'm glad. Because the next day is the big day.
Yeah.
It's the wedding. But before we get into the wedding and the wedding day and all the things that happened that day, we should take a moment to acknowledge that it's not just Carol Lee that will be watching this live stream. Our kids someday will get to watch this live stream. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? So hello. Welcome. We're going to now tell you what our wedding day was like. I don't know what else I want to tell you. I don't have anything profound to say. Hopefully I have thought of something by the time that we meet. But all right, Friday, March 4th, 2022. Should I start or should you?
You were probably up earlier. I don't know. Yeah, because I don't think I was left after you.
I was up at 4 o'clock. So.
Oh yeah, he was definitely up earlier.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I was up at 4 o'clock. Yeah, I started the day under the idea of this is going to be an important day. I want to make sure I start it right. So I actually did the perfect day protocol, which if you want, you can ask about that later. But yeah, I did my day the way I wanted to do it. I had to start it pretty early in order to do that. And so I woke up and I did my prayers, did my writing. Yeah, that's how I started the day. Started the day by also misunderstanding the time zone and waking up my guys.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
We could do without that, Siri. But anyway, yeah, I woke up my guys an hour early, like a total jerk.
Nice.
And then I realized that, and I was like, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Because all my guys are in the same room almost, most of them, all but two. And so yeah, that was what happened. But I had a bunch of stuff to do still, and I was doing it. So yeah, and then what was it? 6 o'clock? I think it was like 6:30ish. All the guys got out of the Garrett house. We went down to Mama's house to get ready, and which is where my mom was staying. So
yeah,
Mom and Val were already there. But, yeah, want me to tell you anything about what it was like? My mom ironed everybody's shirts, so which was nice because we're a bunch of guys. I don't want to say we're slobs, but like none of us wanted to iron.
So the girls, a few of the girls got up around 6:30. I did not get up until like 7.
I didn't know that.
I think. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so in my mind, we had first look scheduled for 10.
Okay.
I think. And for those of you who don't know me, I don't do a lot of makeup or anything. So in my mind, I was like, 3 hours? I mean, I normally get ready in like tops 30 minutes. So like 3 hours, that's plenty. It turns out that was not a great estimate on my part.
Don't do anything.
But I got up at 7.
You don't do anything on performance day that you haven't practiced.
Yeah. So got up and I took like an hour-long shower. So that's probably like part of it that factored into.
You had a lot of extra things to do in the shower.
Well, just, like, did all the deep conditioning hair stuff. Like, make sure your hair is great.
Okay. Which it was, by the way. And you'll see in pictures, but it was better than it is in pictures.
So yeah, it took like the longest shower of my life. And then what?
That's the longest shower of your life?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
When you grow up in a family of 6 and you have one bathroom, you don't get to take an hour-long shower or you run out of all of the hot water and everyone else wants to kill you.
Well, yeah, but like even as an adult in dormitory life, I love taking.
I mean, at that point, I had a pretty ingrained habit of short showers.
I like long showers.
So yeah, and then like all the girls were getting ready and had like muffins and fruit and stuff for breakfast. I think it was one of my brothers picked up coffee and chai for the girls. We all put in our orders the night before, and he picked it up on the way in. So got some good chai tea latte morning of the wedding because I do not like coffee. Like the smell of it, can't stand the taste. But I'm all about chai. And we're just like, I guess I never looked at the time. I don't know because we're just like taking our time. She
was like
we were doing
3 hours. I've got 3 hours to get ready.
But it's like things are happening all of the time. And so then like Vanessa started doing my hair and Paige was helping with different things. And we got my hair done. And then we were like hanging up our dresses and stuff because the photographer had gotten there. Mm-hmm. And she'd gotten there much earlier because she went and took pictures with the guys first and then came up and started taking pictures with the girls. And so we like hung up our dresses and stuff for her to take pictures. And then my mom comes up and she's like, "Hey, Erica, you know that like you're supposed to be walking up to the first look in like 10 minutes. And I was like, we have a picture. And I'm pretty sure it's the moment my mom told me this because I don't know what else would have caused this look on my face. But like, there's this picture of me with like a look of absolute horror on my face of like, So I'm pretty sure that's the moment my mom told me, hey, you're supposed to be at first look, like heading up in 10 minutes. And here I am still in my little like robe thing, no makeup on. Yeah. I was like, well, it ain't gonna be 10 minutes. So tell Nick to not walk. Like he has some time. He doesn't need to walk up yet.
So this is the point where I should probably
Yeah.
explain what happens now. So then her mom steps outside, and now I have just gotten up with my guys. We've come up. We drove up from our meeting, like where we were. And as I get up, I tell the guys what the plan is and like kind of direct them. And most of them already know at this point, but it's just reminding. And they go inside, and as I'm getting ready to go up, because I wasn't planning on going inside, just to make sure that I don't accidentally glance through a magic mirror or a window or something. Yeah, so many.
It's very open.
Very open. Yeah, but so I'm not even gonna go inside. I'm just gonna walk up the hill because it's time to do that. And as I go to her mom was like, "Hey Nick, Erica's taking a little bit longer than planned." And I think she actually said it to someone else to say to me, but I was close enough I could hear her say it to that person. Tell Nick to wait 5 more minutes before going up. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, 5 more minutes, that's a small enough difference that, like, honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I can wait 5 extra minutes. That's not a big deal. So I just left immediately. So I ended up actually leaving, like, I think a little early, even compared to what we were scheduled for. But also thinking that Erica was only 5 minutes behind me.
Which I was not.
And so I walked, it's a half-mile walk up the hill, and I got to Windy Knob, and it was not windy again for the second time I've ever seen. And instead, it was super overcast, fog. From the trees where Erica would be standing to the rocks where we would be standing to get married, like which is essentially the aisle, as you can picture it. From the trees, I couldn't see the rocks, and from the rocks, I couldn't see the trees. That's how thick the fog was when I first got up there. It was super thick, super soupy. And so I got up there, and I was there for about probably only like 10 minutes. And I walked around. There were some deer there that I was watching. And the fog was starting to lift up a little bit. But I was thinking, I was like, if her mom said she's 5 minutes late, she wouldn't have felt it was so important to tell me unless it was actually going to be more than that. Like I was in my head, I was like, I think it's going to be way worse than that. And but to be clear, by way worse than that, all I thought was like maybe 20 minutes, right? I was like, she's going to be 20 minutes late. And so I was like, well, 20 minutes, that's long enough for a time lapse. So I set up a time lapse with the GoPro, like I used to do a lot for my vlogs. But I decided to stand in the time lapse so that you could see me not moving while the clouds, wash over me. Because at this point, it's cleared enough that you can kind of see through the fog, and the fog is now like individual clouds, and you watch them go across everything. So I was like, I'm going to stand in the fog and watch the fog go by in time lapse. Well, so that's like 10 o'clock or 10:20. Yeah, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is when I started hiking up. Mm-hmm. And when was it that you got there? Do you remember what time it was for first look?
I want to say it was like 10:45, maybe 11. I don't know.
I think it was after 11.
It was probably after 11.
I think it was after 11.
So at the time, the mom was like, hey, you're supposed to be heading up soon. That's when Vanessa started my makeup, which takes a little bit. And then still had to put the dress on and get like pictures of like people helping like button things up and get pictures of these different things. And then I started walking up. So it was, I was a good like 45 minutes later than originally planned. And walking up, we
Which
took, like-
for a moment, that means that I stood still
Yeah.
for 45 minutes.
crazy, right? Impossible. Who would have thought?
Facing the wind.
So to get up there, I didn't want to get like my dress muddy before I even got any pictures or anything up there. So we like took the whole bottom of my dress and stuck it in a trash bag, and I carried like my train and all of the bottom of my dress in a trash bag up the hill, so that it wouldn't get muddy.
Dedication.
And
wrong.
walked up with my dad, and we got up there, changed shoes, because I also didn't want to get my nice boots all muddy and gross. So I wore my hiking boots up and then changed shoes up there. And we did the first look. And so Dad and I walked up, and I was like, let's just stop and have him turn around and come to me. That way I don't have to like walk and again get my dress more dirty. But what happened next?
So then I can hear the photographer jingle, 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 because she's got the harness that holds her cameras up. Jingle, jingle, jingle. She's walking up behind me, and I was like, I think I said, "Hey, Kelly," and she's like, "Hey, Nick, I'm just gonna take some pictures, and then I'll have you turn around. So don't turn around until I tell you." I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Should I take off my coat and stuff? Because I was wearing some extra layers to stay warm during that 45 minutes of standing still." Which it turned out was a good idea. I almost didn't do that because I was like, "Oh, we're on time. I'm not going to be out that long." And so I like step forward, take off my stuff, put it behind the rock, and get back in position. And she's like, "Okay, turn around." And so I turn around and I see Erica, and I saw Erica, and I was really happy about that. I know, huge surprise.
Very excited.
I was very excited, and she goes, but I kind of froze. I didn't do anything. I was just like, just, I guess first looking. I don't know. and then Kelly was like, "Go to her or come to her." I don't remember.
Yeah, because
exactly
he was like, "Is she coming to me or am I coming to her?"
Oh, I
And
said
was
that.
Well, yeah, that's what we were trying to figure out. And I was like, "Well, you're coming to me."
Yeah, and so
I don't want to get my dress all messed up.
Mm-hmm. So as soon as she said, "Go to her," I took off running, and I ran to her. But it turned out I was maybe a smidge, just a smidgen, too excited, and I ran full speed and couldn't stop fast enough. Luckily, I'm good at catching, and I caught her. But I ran into her, knocked her over, stepped on the thing, caught her in my arms, set her back up, stepped off of the thing. At first, though, we thought it was her because she, stepped back when but it turned out later it was obviously my blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in me not trying to get my dress all muddy and messed up
You tried not to get your dress muddy, except your one fatal flaw was that you were marrying the wrong guy to keep that dress clean.
But surprisingly, for like the rest of the time, it would stay like amazingly clean for the conditions we were doing.
Oh yeah, it was super impressive how clean that dress stayed in total.
Yeah. So then we did photos with just us, and then like 30 minutes later, our whole bridal party came up, and we did bridal party photos. We did it that way because again, I was like, I want photos of like all of our nice photos that we're gonna be framing and stuff to be before my dress gets completely ruined by doing a wedding
air in the wind and
time.
everything. There's a lot.
Yeah. So we did the first look, and then we did like all of our bridal party photos and stuff before the ceremony. And it actually like turned out really well with timing. Our photographer Kelly was amazing, and like even though I was 45 minutes plus behind, like we were able to get in all of our photos and still start the ceremony on time.
Yeah, and we took a lot of photos. I mean, it was not. She did not skimp on the number of photos either. She was snapping the whole time, and yeah, a lot of really beautiful poses.
Yeah. So then we went to the trees, and we all hid because people were starting to walk up.
Oh, you
for the
guys went to
ceremony.
the trees.
Well, yeah, I guess you didn't. We went to the trees, and all those girls like threw on coats and everything so we can stay warm just standing here. Because at this point, like when we were doing the photos, it really wasn't that cold. But when
Well, it didn't seem that cold.
oh yeah,
the
I guess it
temperature
didn't
was the
seem
same.
that cold. But then we used to just stand, and it was a lot colder. So we were throwing on jackets and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, and then so I'm standing up there at the front. Not too long after that is when people started arriving. There's like a crowd forming like off to the side, and Jeff Wines, who would be, was our officiant, came up, and I don't remember if he probably, I think he went and talked to you first, but then I remember when he came and talked to me because I was there for that part, because I was just standing up by the rock the whole time, and so he came up to me. He wasn't able to be there for our rehearsal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I showed him where he was going to be standing, where I was going to be standing, where she was going to be standing, and then went through a few things with him, last minute things, and double checking some things, and he went and talked to you again. And then we're almost ready to talk about the actual ceremony itself. It's about to start.
Yeah.
Oh geez, I just realized I don't remember any of it.
So yeah, I mean, all of our guests made it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who had RSVP'd,
And some that hadn't.
And some that hadn't, yeah.
So we had blessed with some extra.
Yeah. And they were all up there standing on the mountaintop, and we got started. So
like 5 minutes before, someone was like, "Hey, would you guys like drone shots?" And
yeah.
I was like, "Sure." Ask the bride too, but sure. And so then I ran over to her.
Yeah, one of my bridesmaids' fiance had a drone, and so we have drone footage. We haven't seen it yet, but I'm super excited
somewhere.
to see it.
As far as we know, we have it.
Cool. And so started playing music, and Bridal party walked down the aisle, and then I walked down the aisle, and yeah. And then Jeff said some words.
And then Jeff said, "These two people love each other." And 3 verses and 3 lessons from those verses. And she's looking at me like, "Do you know what those lessons were that he said?" I don't think I do. I don't think I do right now. Afterwards, we quizzed each other on the lessons and the verses.
And we had remembered them
the next day. Yeah. So, but not right now.
Love well. And
that was the last one. Mm-hmm. The last one.
Good thing we haven't recorded.
Nailed it. Technology.
And I mean, I feel like everything went well. It was really cold. It was. For pictures and stuff, like we're moving around, so I didn't feel that cold.
Well, and also the weather did change a bit. So the sun started to come out, which cleared some of the fog, but picked up the wind. It started to get windy, not super windy, like it normally is up there, but like there was quite a breeze. Like all the ladies' dresses are like flapping. You know, all the men's hair, and by that I mean Ralston's, was flapping. It was lovely, but all of us guys had tears, you know, just pouring to the side of our face like motorcyclists because we're facing the wind. Yeah.
Wow, that's like I didn't even think about that until now. That it is a miracle that did not happen to me because my eyes hate the cold and like any breeze in the cold, and my eyes were not. Yeah, you didn't constantly streaming.
So when Josh steps up to do the rings, did you didn't look into his eyes, did you? Because
why would I look at his eyes? I was looking at
First of all, he's my brother, and he has amazing eyes. Secondly, but no, he had tears that had gone this way instead of this way. But anyway, so yeah, that was great. The guys were facing the wind, and the girls had the wind to their backs, which, you know, they also had shawls, which, you know, not coats. Yeah. But yeah, it was cold.
I was shivering the whole time, but it's okay. The pictures will be worth it.
I agree. I think the pictures are great. Yeah. So. Yeah. trying to think what else to say about it. So, I before the ceremony had started, before Erica came up, I had like kind of scanned over the crowd to like. I really enjoyed. You say next time?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll do Hawaii next time. But anyway, I really enjoy seeing all these people coming together for us. And that was one of the most enjoyable parts of the wedding ceremony, at least part of it. And yeah, so I was super excited to see everybody. But there was one group of people I was looking for that I hadn't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until partway through the ceremony where I glanced out into the crowd and I saw Ashley Silva's big stupid smile. and I think he had one of the kids on his shoulders. But anyway, and I was like, yeah.
So that was the moment that everyone was there. I think
that was the last. They were the last ones to make it. Yeah. So, and including her grandparents who were able to make it, and they are how old?
In age.
Assume they are in age. They're impressively old to be walking up like that. And by that I mean they're 45. So yeah, the grandparents are 45. But anyway, so then, yeah, ceremony went really well. Josh was the ring bearer who, yep.
And the star rings upside down.
Oh yeah.
It's a little moment only Josh and us got to share because no one else could tell. But he opened up the box for us to like take the rings out to exchange them, and it was upside down.
Yeah.
So thankfully they didn't fall out.
Made us laugh. Yeah, that was good. We put rings on, and then he said some stuff. Our vows were
before the rings.
Super hard. Did you have? I don't know what it was like for you inside your brain with your vows, but
he said his first, and by that point I'm like crying.
Mm-hmm. I was crying a long time ago.
So
I was crying off and on the whole time.
Then Jeff was like, "Okay, Erica," and I was like,
Yeah. So it was cold enough that I felt like when we started doing the vows where I was gonna have to say something, I felt like I wasn't gonna be able to say anything. I felt like I was like, am I gonna be able to? And I did, and I was like, oh, okay, I can. But I was worried the whole ceremony. One of the things I was worried about was I have another. So in my family, there's a lot of beards in the Barnett family, and there's also a lot of men that are very comfortable crying. We're very comfortable with who we are, I guess, and so we're emotional guys. We love people and stuff. And one of my cousins during his wedding, from the moment he saw his wife to the moment it was over and they left, he was like blubbering, crying. I'm not gonna say who it was, but he was like really blubbering, crying. And I was so worried that I was gonna cry like that. I was like, oh, please let me just cool cry. Let me just cry like a cool guy up here. Like, let me just be happy and have tears trickle down into watering my beard garden. But and that's exactly what happened. So I was stoked about that. I cried off and on throughout the whole ceremony, but it was all no gasping. So it was good. Gentle cry, gentle tears, gentle rain. Yeah. So. And then
and so then we wrapped it up, and we took a couple like family pictures and stuff after the ceremony up there, but did those very quickly because we were very cold.
Yeah, at that point,
I feel like all the family photos are going to be a little not great because I'm probably going to be like.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's going to be.
But, it's fine.
A little disheveled. My shirt was untucked by that point, for sure.
And then we went down to the reception.
Yeah.
And when we got down there, we did foot washing before.
You want to do the reception and the honeymoon together?
Oh, we can.
Because we're
running
over an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Although if you're at the reception, you know what the reception is like.
And also you can watch the live stream of a lot of the reception.
Yeah.
Not all of it, because the battery ran out. But yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for being here with us. More coming soon. See you again next week. What days off do I have next week? I don't know.
Mm.
Is it Monday?
Mm.
Do you want to do it again Monday?
No.
No. Neither do I.
A statement.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe Friday. We'll do Friday again next week. So
No.
what's that?
Friday Night Live.
uh,
We'll let you know.
yeah, update soon. Maybe Wednesday. What's going on Wednesday? You got Pathfinders.
Mhm.
Well, so you won't be here. What about Thursday night? Thursday night,
Check my very
6
busy
p.m.
calendar.
Okay, all right. Just a second. Momentarily, we'll figure it out.
on pause.
Very soon. Yeah, pause. In the meantime, thank you, patrons.
Yeah,
Mom and Raagnaerok. What?
Thursday should be fine.
Thursday, 6 p.m. Dallas time. Texas time. Most of Texas time.
Central.
Central time. Sounds weird. That's not
That's what it is.
It's certainly named after me. It's Texas
It's,
time.
okay.
All right. Okay. Well, it's been good. We'll see you guys. See y'all next week. If I can get my clicker to work. Love you.